name's Nathan Lindsell, and welcome to episode number 59 of The Fine Art of Distraction. So, on today's episode, I've decided to do something completely different. Yeah, I have. But before I tell you what I'm going to be doing, I have to show you the dry result of last week and the week before, because I think both pieces turned out exceptionally awesome. How cool is this one? That's wicked cool. And I'll tell you what, this thing is so smooth. I love how smooth acrylic paints turn out. This is cool. Hello. Now, I think how I've got it here now, and I apologise about the glare that's happening, how I've got it here with a point down the bottom, I think this is the best way to actually hang this one. Rather than having it with the flat edge at the bottom, I think just because of how this, the movement is working with this, where this looks like it's sort of exploding up from the bottom, I think this would be the best way to hang it. So if by chance I happen to sell this or give it away, or it just ends up hanging on my wall, this is the way I think it should hang. What do you guys reckon? Alrighty, so that's that one. Now this next piece, whoop, dropping things. Now this next piece is actually my entry to the Pouring with the Feathers collaboration. And I tell you what, this thing is out of this world. Now I'm going to be turning on the black light because I actually used neon pigments. And let's turn this black light on now. Turn that off. This one's almost warmed up, and it's warmed up now. There we go. Alrighty, so let's turn this light off. Alright, so we've got the black light on, as we can clearly see. Alrighty, guys. Put your sunnies on for this one, because you're gonna need it. How awesome is this? Boom! This is sick! Like, how insanely bright are these pigments? As I said, these pigments are from Health of Mind Art, and oh, wow! This is so cool! This looks like a grumpy face. There's the big lips. Hurry up! Hurry up! Does anyone remember Mr. Squiggle, the man from the moon? The blackboard. Hurry up! Hurry up! And then there was upside down. Upside down. Oh, I'm a goose, aren't I? Alrighty, so let's turn some lights back on. Let's turn that one off, and let's turn the black light off too. All right, cool. We're ready to rock. Alrighty, so as I mentioned at the start, I'm going to be doing something completely different. And it's actually been staring at you the whole time. It has. Can anyone pick what it is? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. It's this shirt. Look at these hands! Alrighty, so I'm actually going to be showing you how I made this t-shirt using my Cricut Maker 3. And yes, it's not technically sort of fluid art, but to me, it's very much part of my fluid art, because I wouldn't have come up with the catchphrase, "Look at these hands," if I didn't paint and didn't have extremely messy hands. So to me, this shirt definitely is relatable to fluid art painting. Alrighty guys, now that I've showed you the dry results of 2 weeks ago and last week, and I've also told you what I'm going to be doing, this shirt, let's head over to the other table. I'll show you what products I'm going to be using, and then yeah, let's get into it. Thanks guys. Alrighty then, so here's all the products we're going to be using today, and as you can see, it's completely different to my normal setup. Now, as mentioned in the actual intro, I'm going to be printing on a t-shirt. Now, the t-shirts that I like to use, and what I like to wear, is AS colors. To me, they're extremely comfortable and very, very hard wearing. And anytime any of my favorite bands have got merchandise for sale and I see that they're printing on AS, I'm like, boom, get me one of them. Alrighty, so what else are we looking at here? So up the top here, this is actually a heat press from Cricut. You can get lots of different ones, but I've got the Cricut one. This up here is actually the Cricut Maker 3, and that's what's actually going to cut out the heat transfer vinyl. So you need heat transfer vinyl to basically stick onto fabric. I've got this, I think they're called a guillotine. I don't know. That's what I don't think it's a guillotine, but it basically cuts straight. I've also got a mat that actually has a sticky backing on it. So when I'm actually weeding out the bits and pieces from the heat transfer vinyl, it's got something to stick onto. Alrighty, so we've got some scissors here. We've also got a little palette knife. This is actually the little weeder. We've got some reverse tweezers. And what I mean by reverse tweezers is when you push it in, it actually opens, rather than the other ones, like where you push it in and it closes. This is the other way around. And then we've just got an X-Acto knife in case I need to tidy up any loose ends. Alrighty guys, now that I've showed you what I'm going to be using today, let's clear off all of this and yeah, let's start printing. Thanks guys. Alrighty, so we're almost ready to rock and roll. So basically what we're going to do first is measure how much of the heat transfer vinyl we're going to need to cut out. So basically, in order to find that out, we actually need to go almost to the final stages of this. So if we hit make it on the side just here, actually what I might do, I might start recording it just so we can actually go along with it. There we go. So basically we hit make it and it gives you some options here. Will you be basically cutting out using a mat or not a mat? Today we are using a mat. Hit confirm. And so the vinyl itself is 12 inches wide, so that's fine. We don't need to sort of go any shorter on that because it's just a little bit above 11 inches wide. But you can see down here that it is just above 7 inches. So, literally just above 7 inches. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to go to about 7.5 inches. Alrighty. So we can move that to the side now. Open this. That was almost spot on. Wow. How's that for a guess, eh? You'd think I've done this before or something. Alright, so that's 7.5 inches. So just hold this down. And we put it back in its box, ready to play with another day. Alrighty. So now that we've got our heat transfer vinyl cut out, basically we now grab our mat that actually has a sticky backing on it. Now, with the HVT, you're basically going to be needing to actually have the shiny side facing down, because this just here, this bit here is the actual heat transfer vinyl. The shiny side is actually the backing. So if you actually send that through that way, you're going to cut out the design on the backing, and you're going to waste a bunch of HTV, heat transfer vinyl. Alrighty, so we peel this off. This is just the protection. Over time, these do lose their stickiness, so you can just use like masking tape to hold it down. Alrighty, so now that that's ready to rock and roll, I can bring this forward a bit now. Make sure we're in frame. Alrighty, so now that that's on the actual mat now, we can actually put that aside for 2 seconds, because now that we're in the final stages of the actual printing of the design, there's a very important part that you need to do when you're actually doing like a t-shirt. There's a bit just down here and it says mirror and then in brackets for iron on. So basically, because you're transferring that onto a t-shirt, you need to put it in reverse, so when you're actually looking at it, you're seeing the right way around. All right, so we hit this, and if we watch there, it'll automatically change it to a mirror image. There we go. So basically, because we're actually cutting it out on that side, then when we go to sort of print it out, it'll be down like that, because then the shiny side is what we're going to be ironing on top of. Alrighty. So now that we've got to that point there, then we hit next. Oh, we've got to turn on the Cricut Maker, and it'll come up in a second. There we go, Maker 3. So we're going to be, that's the one. Alrighty, so there is a bunch of selections that you can do here. Now, normally, if you're using the proper Cricut Maker heat transfer vinyl, you would actually just hit that one just there, the Smart Iron On. But we're actually not using that, so let's go back. We're actually just using a generic brand. So basically what we need to do, we need to select all materials, find our way down to, where are we? Here we go. So this is the iron-on section. So we want heat transfer non-Cricut. So we hit there. Alrighty, the next step, and it actually says here, make sure mirror is turned on and iron-on material is face shiny side down, just like I said before. Alrighty. Now this bit here, this next step, is the pressure of what you want your blade at. I always select more. So you've got less, default, and more. And that's just the pressure of the blade coming out. So I always go more. just so I know that it actually cuts through all the way. The last time I did a video using this, I did have it on more, but the material that I was using was actually quite thick. So it struggled to sort of cut through it. Alrighty, so now that we've done that, now we get to cut it out. So we can see here, this is actually flashing. Yep, you can see that. So basically, we now feed the mat with the heat transfer vinyl through. And this little button here, by pressing that, that'll actually send it through. So we'll press it. Now what it'll actually do now, it'll actually send the whole thing through to make sure that you've actually got enough material to cut on. If you don't have enough material to cut on, it'll actually basically come up saying you don't have enough. Alrighty, so now we can see here that it's saying press play. By pressing play, that'll actually start the process. So as you can see there, action complete. Now we can actually hit the motion button and it'll actually send it out. There we go. Now we can actually turn that off. And we can pop him to the side now because we don't need him anymore. So this is actually where we're going to start weeding the actual vinyl off, and this is where we're going to need this and also this. So it's a little weeder and a little palette knife. So the easiest way to sort of do it, I might zoom in a little bit. Do it that way so it's closer to me. Alright. I'll try to keep it in that one spot. I'll put some paddle pop sticks either side so I know. Well, they're not really paddle pop sticks, are they? Imagine if these were paddle pop sticks. How good would that be? These are huge! Alrighty. So the easiest way to actually get this off is basically put the little spike through. Don't put it all the way through because you're wanting to actually go in, put the needle in between the vinyl and the sticky backing and peel it off. So the shiny side is actually still on the actual mat, and we're basically just going to peel this off. Alrighty, so there it is in reverse. And now what we've got to do, we've got to heat up the heat press and put it on the shirt. So let me heat up the heat press now. Alrighty, so while that's heating up, we can actually peel this off. That was quite sticky. And what you want to do, you want to iron the back of the shirt first. Because by ironing the back of the shirt, it's going to help get rid of any moisture that's in the fabric. Alrighty, so that's saying it's at 170 degrees Celsius now. So we're just going to give this a light iron on the back. We don't have to do the whole shirt because we're not putting a transfer over the whole shirt. Just need to make sure the area that we're putting the transfer on is nice and flat and with no wrinkles. And as I said, another reason why we're doing this is to get rid of any moisture that could be in the fabric. Because what's actually a good idea before you actually do the heat transfer scenario, actually put these through the wash, like put your shirts through the wash. And basically that'll just get rid of any chemicals or anything that are on there. Alright, so now let's flip this shirt over. And I'll tell you what, it's actually extremely hard to to lay out the shirt flat with the camera stand right in the middle. Alrighty, now we also want to iron the front. The fabric that I've got underneath started to crease up when I moved the shirt up. Alright, I think we're sweet now. Alright, so another reason why we're actually ironing the front before we put the heat press on, before we put the heat transfer down, is because the heat will actually activate the stickiness and help it adhese to it. Is that the right word? Adhese? Could be. Alrighty, so now we're going to line it up. So I might use some paddle pop sticks. How does that look? Go a little bit tad higher, I think. Alrighty, I think we're winning with that. Now, a product that I actually forgot to put in the products bit, you will need some baking powder, some baking paper. Basically, so you can actually put that on top of this, so that the actual plastic doesn't melt to the actual press. Alrighty. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There's no turning back from here. So, wish me luck, guys. You. Now, because this is actually a little bit bigger than the actual heat press itself, I'm gonna do this like so. And now we hit the timer, and that's going to count down 40 seconds, but I actually want to put it on there for 80 seconds each time. Alright, now we're just going to hit it again. Alright, now we're going to move it on to the other bit. Alright, now I just want to sort of go backwards and forwards just to heat that other side back up a bit. Now, because that's actually extremely hot, we want to let it sit for a couple of minutes before we actually attempt to peel it off. But when you're peeling it off, you got to do it extra slow, because if you start to see that a part of it is lifting, put it back down and then put the baking paper straight back over the top and then hit it with the heat press again. So don't turn your heat press off at this stage. And it's good to have this on hand, a little palette knife. All right, I reckon we can give it a go now. So, look at these hands! You know I've done something good when my hands look like that! Yee-hoo! I had to say it! How cool is that, eh, guys? Alrighty, guys. I know today's episode was a little bit different, but hey, it's all about having a bit of fun while doing art, right? But I actually want to take this opportunity to say thank you all so much for tuning in. As I said, it was something very different, but hey, I still had a lot of fun doing it, and it looks awesome! Yee-hoo! So, if you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. And if you're not yet subscribed and you feel like subscribing to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, then hit the little dark bell. That'll actually indicate when I upload new videos. And if you think any of your friends or family might like to see how I created this, or even might get any benefit from watching this, please forward it on to them. I'd love for them to have a look at it as well. Alright guys, one more time, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And this is the fine art of distraction.